Russia is desperate to find a way around U.S. currency sanctions. Are they turning to crypto? But is this not going to be the game changer they hope it is? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Now, you guys know that crypto is one of those things that is just rife with problems. Now, Russia, though, is willing to turn to it because Western sanctions have been cracking down harder and harder on Russia's ability to do cross-border payments. Now, here's the thing to understand with cross-border payments is that Russia, like any other international trade, right? If you wanted to buy something from China. Let's say you wanted to buy a Chinese-made drone. Well, at the end of the day, that Chinese-made drone company, they don't want Russian rubles. They don't even want US dollars because they can't pay taxes with them. They can't buy groceries for their family. They can't pay their employees with them. They need yuan or whatever their home currency is. So in order to make that transaction happen, you need to do an exchange of payments. You need to do an exchange of currencies. And for, again, small payments, that's pretty easy, right? Any bank is happy to take your USD and for a small fee, spit out yuan on the other side. That's something that a lot of payment processors kind of do by default. But when you are a major importer-exporter, when you're ordering $30 million of, let's say, Chinese steel, then banks are a little less likely to play that game. And when you're subject to U.S. sanction for doing those exchanges, a lot of banks will back away. And that's been the problem that Russia has found itself stuck in, is that many Chinese banks in particular, but many other international institutions have simply said, we can't take the risk of doing these exchanges of ruble for our currency because the U.S. will crack down on our banks. And if the U.S. cracks down on you, that means that not only can these banks can't do business with U.S. institutions, but they can't do business with the U.S. dollar. And a lot of countries whose currencies fluctuate a lot, again, they will do their major international trade denominated in U.S. dollars. So, for example, if you're a really unstable currency, let's say you're Niger, and you sit there and go, listen, we want to purchase a shipment of rice, right, from a Chinese agricultural manufacturer. Well, the Chinese may say, listen, your currency is so unstable that if we sign the contract today and the rice and the payment isn't processed for 60 days, the value of your currency could change radically. And so a lot of countries will say, let's just agree that the exchange will be done in USD. And so that means that it's not just US trade that they're risking losing. These banks are risking losing huge portions of the international trade regime. And so what does that mean? That means that Russia needs an alternative, and it's pulled out all the stops. We talked about the fact that Russia is literally resorting to barter. Russia's literally calling Chinese, not even banks, Chinese companies, and they're saying, listen, we know we need 100 drone motors. We need 1 million drone motors. How about we send you some copper wire, some fertilizer, some natural gas? What's it going to take? What do you want? But again, the problem with that is if you're a company that manufactures drone parts, what are you going to do with several $1 million in natural gas? Nothing. Those are the kind of problems that the barter system has. So Russia is turning to utilizing its national payment card system to switch rubles into cryptocurrencies for international transactions. Right? Now, currently, the NPCS handles ruble-denominated interbank settlements, but they're going to pivot it to be crypto-based under trials authorized by the Central Bank of Russia. Now, Russia's central bank, of course, previously wanted to ban cryptocurrency because they were concerned about illicit activities, but really they were concerned about their ability to tax it. Russia is, of course, the land of illicit activities, but if you're going to commit a crime, you damn well better give the Russian government their cut. However, thanks to these sanctions, suddenly, internet money sounds like a really good idea. And Of course, one anonymous official that Yahoo Finance spoke to said, quote, the urgency behind this decision is clear. Quote, Russian companies are finding it increasingly difficult to pay overseas suppliers and receive payments for exports, especially since the U.S. expanded its criteria in June for targeting foreign banks that work with Russia. So, but the specifics are where things get even more fraught, right? And this trial, it's revealed, is focusing on what are called stablecoins. Now, stablecoins are cryptocurrencies linked to popular fiat currencies like the US dollar or Chinese yuan and are expected to be used in this international payment system, right? And that makes sense, again, because it's very hard to do crypto-denominated Bitcoins because they have a lot of the same problems as these other unstable currencies, right? And let's take a look at probably the most stable cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. As you can see, Bitcoin is prone to some real volatility. This is a one-day chart, by the way, lads, right? If we look at let's say, again, we're talking about 6 months is common for negotiations for large payments. You see that the value relative to USD, the kind of de facto stable currency, has an apex of $73,000 and a nadir of $54,000. So again, you're talking about something in the magnitude of like 40% swings in value over 6 months. This is too unstable for a reliable payment system, right? Imagine you sign a contract here and then you have to pay up here. It would be too chaotic. They need to use stablecoins. Now, we're going to talk about the problem with an international sanctioned regime using stablecoins. But first, if you want to stabilize your own regime, right, you probably don't need to resort to crypto nonsense. Instead, you may just need some caffeine. And don't turn to overpriced energy drinks loaded with sugar. Instead, you want to check out Strike Gum. Strike Gum is the superior energy drink alternative. Not only are we veteran owned and made in the USA, but we have no sugar, and every single piece of Strike Gum, and there's 5 in a pack, contain all the caffeine of an energy drink. So it's a no-brainer. If you work with your hands, you work in the trades, you're a cop, you're a firefighter, you're a nurse, you're a mom, or a parent, you can't be hauling around an energy drink trying to do what you got to do. Keep some Strike Gum in your pocket. Keep it in your glove box. Keep it in your office. Chew it. You get refreshing mint flavor, and you're back. You get all the energy of an energy drink. None of the sugar crash. Best of all, it's Labor Day, and that means I'm here to support Labor Ring. It's summer vacation. I hope you're not laboring. But, summer's coming to an end, and we got to hunker down. So, we got a sale. Labor Day 24 is the promo code. Not only will Labor Day 24 get you free shipping on domestic orders over $50, so 2 of these 5-packs, or you can get 20% off if you're an international customer, right? We don't forget about you guys. You guys have some other crazy, you don't do Labor Day, you do some other crazy communist thing, but it's fine. We love you anyway. But here's the crazy part is, the same promo code, Labor Day 24, if you were thinking about becoming a member of Combat Vet News and getting access to those uncensored combat videos that drop twice a week, oh yeah, 10 to 20% off every tier. That promo code will get you. So this is the time. If you want to support the channel and get the caffeine you need, do both. Same promo code, Labor Day 24. Link is in the description for everything. Okay, let's talk about the problems with stablecoins, right? There's a problem. And, whoa, buddy. Okay, check this insanity out. Look at this. I had this article pulled up to show you guys about stablecoins, about USDC. Okay, and then it's clearly I've destroyed the internet. This is actually very fitting, because that's exactly the problem with stablecoins. And this is okay. What is a stablecoin? As we said, stablecoin tracks the price of a known asset. And here's where things, here's the problem, is that stablecoins, right, is a cryptocurrency that means that one USDC equals $1 always. And for transactions that are denominated in a dollar, that can be really useful. Here's the problem. The problem is that let's say I go in and I buy a bunch of USDC. I'm pushing up the value. I'm increasing demand. And when that happens and it's not backed by an actual dollar, it'll break. It'll become separated from the value of a US dollar. So, what does that mean? Right? Again, it's hard because they have to stay pegged even if demand is high. So, what happened to USDC? Well, a problem is that if there's a lot of demand, like for example, the iconic Terra, is that $1 of crypto money equals 87 cents of real dollars. And when that happens, people that were counting on this to the USDC to make their transactions happen, suddenly they can't. Suddenly nobody wants to touch it because it can no longer reliably. As you can see from this thing, look, all of these values, you can see here's Terra's collapse in May 2022. And you can see that a lot of these remain pretty close to stable, but then suddenly, boom, an absolute total disaster. And that, remember, these currencies, the swings in demand, they were nothing close to the demand that Russia's going to need to sustain its international trade. Russia is an industrial country, guys. So, for example, it's going to need to be able to sustain. This is approximate here. These are a little bit, everything's a little bigger now. The value of trade just with China is 70 billion USD a year. So that's a huge amount of transactions that these stablecoins are going to have to facilitate. They're not going to be able to do it. They don't have $70 billion backing them. They just don't, guys. You would know it. Right? And that's just China. Netherlands, Germany, Turkey, Belarus. Belarus alone is $25 billion, guys. Right? And there's lots of these cryptocurrencies, right? Apologies, everything crashed. Here's another example of a stable coin that was actually illegally stable. Nope. Oh, there you go. I added an A to Tether. That's how irrelevant Tether is. As you can see here, Commodities Future Trading Commission smacked down 3 years ago the stable coin known as Tether that claimed it was tethered to the dollar at 1-to-1. But it wasn't. It was a lie. Tether Holdings was just straight up lying through their teeth. $41 million in penalties and a cease and desist to not claim that they were backed by US dollars. Because they weren't. They were backed by like a quarter of the US dollars. So you can see that for Russia, yeah, it's a cool fantasy, but crypto is still not ready for prime time. Definitely not for two massive economies to use them to switch their payments back and forth. Again, and this isn't alone. If you were to try to do this with Saudi dinar, there's just not enough of it. These guys, to try to do $70 billion, it would also destroy the stability of these currencies. That's why the US dollar, when they talk about the world reserve currency, it's something where you can do monster transactions to the tune of tens of billions of dollars, and the value will remain consistent through this transaction process. That's why these massive economies and their currencies are so valuable, and why crypto has such a hard time competing. The only thing that is roughly comparable that can do this is gold. And humanity has literally had to mine gold for like 2,000 years nonstop in order to get enough in the system to make these payments make sense. And even then, they can still get screwed up. It's still not quite good enough for international balance of payments. Anyway, guys, that's all I had. Be sure to check out, again, promo code LaborDay24, Combat Vet News, Strike Gum, all of it. Get after it. Thank you to our Cardinal tier members. Could not do it without you guys, particularly James Sterling, Steve Moran, Doug Beck, Alan Knudsen, Bastian Hemmerling, Yanko Georgiev, Dale McCombs, and James Ola, as well as all of our Lieutenant tier members. I could not do this without you guys. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.